distinct honor of introducing Dr. Jonathan Schultz.
Well, thank you so much. Are we good? All this stuff sounds good? Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Matt, for first off asking me to do this and talking about it. I remember that talk, and I distinctly remember being out on the balcony, and Matt and I were bringing up this idea, and I said, look, anything that you do that has to do with mental health, let me know and I'll help. And for multiple reasons, one, it's important, two, it's not talked about, but really, I've learned a few things as a counselor at Bakersfield College for the last few years, and I'll get into my biography pretty soon. But there's really three things I've learned, is that every single person in this room that I meet with in my office is either a story, a piece of information, or a mentor away from changing their life trajectory. And I'm not saying that to start off with like a cool, like you teach in your speech class, like get the hook in. It's just true. Every single student I've ever met with, person I've talked to, anybody in this room is one story, one piece of information, or one mentor away from changing their life trajectory. So things like this I eat up because I hope and I pray. I literally say a prayer that Matt and I both could hopefully share something, whether it's the story that we share or the information that we give, that someone in this audience's life has changed, at least the trajectory to where maybe you'll go out and get help, feel better, and just change your life trajectory. So that's what I'm praying for. Before I start though, you should probably know who I am. So just to give you a little bit of a biography, I have basically been in Porterville, Terabella area my whole life. My family actually founded a church in Terabella back in the early 1900s. I just now bought the house that my dad was born in back in the 1950s, and I've lived in Terabella my whole life. I went to a school called Zion out in Terabella, if anyone's familiar with that. I had 9 kids in my graduating class, so small little school. My grandpa was one of the first classes. My dad went, I went, my son and my daughters go there now as well. I then went to Porterville High School, so stayed local. From Porterville High School, so I came here to Porterville College. In fact, before we were talking, I said I don't get super nervous talking in front of people, but this classroom definitely piqued my anxiety because this is where I did Speech 101 25 years ago. And I remember I almost passed out, like I got blinky, and it was so like I feel kind of weird being here. Like this is right where I was at, and I remember right where that gentleman is with the amazing beard. Right, that was where my instructor was sitting, like looking at me the whole time, taking notes. I couldn't, oh man. So anyway, if I'm seem a little off, that's why. I'm a little off right now because come back in here. But so I went to Porterville College where I played baseball. After 3 years here, took me longer than 2 years to get out. So I always tell my students it's possible. You don't have to get out in 2 years, everybody. Took me 3 years. I then went down to the Master's College where I kept playing baseball and I got my bachelor's degree in communication. Then went to CSUB for my master's degree in counseling, and I just recently graduated with my doctorate degree in leadership from the University of Laverne. And as of right now, as the biography said, I am a counselor at Bakersfield. So for the students in here, and I see there's quite a few, if you go see Araceli or Yolanda, I do the same thing. I just do that at Bakersfield College. But what I am more passionate about, because I love my job and I'm going to do it until I retire, I have kind of shifted into what I call a peer support role. And I do a lot of mental health advocating online. So I share my story and go over things and try to give the tips that I've learned and just try to normalize mental health, but also for my specific diagnosis that I'll talk about in just a sec, it's very unique and it's actually very misunderstood. So all that being said, that's who you're listening to. And let me get into my story really quickly and then also try to share a little bit of advice. Unfortunately, I can't be a mentor today for you all, but if you look me up online, OCD Strong is all of my handles on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Message me, and I would be happy to talk to you. I talk to thousands of people all the time, and if you're local, we could meet up, and I could definitely be a mentor, but that won't be for tonight. So here's my story, and I want to start with this. Like Matt said, everybody can struggle. I come from a 2-parent household. My dad and my mom are amazing people. They both have their education. And I have been lower than low way more times than I can count. So everybody can struggle. Man, woman, black, white, Hispanic, I don't care who you are, everybody can struggle. So I say that because just like Matt said, sometimes I think there's a stereotype for what mental health looks like and there really isn't. So here's my story. To preface it, my issue that I have, that although there is others, the foundational thing of me is something called obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD. Everybody in here has heard about OCD, but unfortunately, it is super misunderstood. People always say, I'm a little OCD, right? I like things a little bit here, a little bit there. Absolutely, that's not what OCD is at all. OCD, according to the World Health Organization, is one of the top, anywhere from top 10 to top 5, based off of the year, most debilitating disorders in the world. Very high suicide rate, very high stopping work and going on disability rate. It's absolutely terrible. And the way that what OCD really is you get a thought, we all get intrusive thoughts in our head, but they start getting deeper, darker, and then you do something about the thoughts. So, for example, you get a thought in your head, a lot of new parents, they hold their baby, and oh my gosh, what if I throw my kid on the ground, okay? And then all of a sudden, that goes away. A lot of new parents, that happens to. Well, someone like myself or others that have OCD, that thought can then turn into, I'm a bad parent, I'm gonna kill my kid, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? And people have literally driven to the police station and turned themselves in for going crazy about wanting to kill their kid. Because with the OCD cycle, you get the obsessional thought, you start getting anxious, you do something to make that thought go away. It's called a compulsion. You feel better for a minute, and then it just keeps spiraling. And if you don't get the right help, you end up happening like what happened to me in 2020, which I'll talk to. So here's how OCD has manifested itself in my life. At 7 years old, I remember my very first panic attack. I was sitting in bed thinking I was gonna go to hell, and just all these crazy random thoughts were happening at 7. I just thought I was an anxious kid. That's what my parents always told me, because OCD is very misdiagnosed and misunderstood. Around the age of 10 is the first time I started being super depressed. Kind of odd to think that a 10 or 11-year-old, is depressed, but every Christmas from the time I can remember, I've always been super sad. Don't want to go back to school, don't want to go open up presents. Very, very depressed. Didn't know what it was at that point. I just thought everyone was sad around the holidays. But for me, it was really bad. High school started, got a little bit better, found alcohol. That was always very helpful for me. And what happened was I was playing baseball and I started losing balls in the outfield. So I went to doctors for my eyes, and I was getting brain scans to see if I had tumors. Found out not all it was, but what was happening is I was getting nervous and my pupils were dilating, and that was making me lose the balls in the outfield. So that was when I first got diagnosed with my issues. But I didn't get the proper help. So about 10 years, more of 6 or 7 years, I was limping through life, went to school. I was able to pass my classes, right? Took me 3 years. Never graduated magna cum laude or summa cum laude, but I made it through. I was able to play baseball. Again, alcohol and other things helped me get through that. And then my senior year in college, about 3 months away from graduating, the intrusive thoughts just got horrible, and I left campus. I broke down. I called my mom. I said, I'm leaving. I can't be here anymore. First time I ever thought about killing myself. And I'd met my parents on the 99 at Jack in the Box, and I said, I'm done. 2 months away from graduating with my bachelor's degree. I really think God was looking out for me. I went to a small Christian school. I don't know how I was able to get back in 3 weeks later, but I showed up. I think my dad made some phone calls. I still to this day don't know. They let me finish my classes, and I was able to graduate, and that's when I started my pretty intense therapy journey at that point. However, the bad thing is with OCD, as Matt and I were talking about at the very beginning, it usually takes 18 years to be diagnosed because there's a very specific therapy that you need for OCD if you really want to have recovery. I didn't get that. So I kept limping through. I got married, I have an amazing wife, I got kids, but again, the whole time I was in this constant loop of intrusive thoughts, breakdowns, and all these things that were happening. And then it all came to a head in 2020 when COVID happened. And on June 6th, that's the day that I had to give my wife a gun that I had in my pocket. And man, when you had 3 kids and you're thinking about killing yourself and you got to give your wife a gun, it's not good. So that was when I finally got the help that I needed. And it's still hard. I went to intense therapy, much like what his place provides, which is fantastic. But I got the help that I needed to at least now be a little bit more manageable. I don't like the hero's journey mental health stories, meaning that you get to a peak and then you're great and everything's good. I think that's a bunch of garbage. I think that might happen for some people, and that's great, and I pray it happens to you. It definitely has not happened to me. However, I got the right help, and like this talk, which I love the word, there is hope when it comes to mental health issues for anybody. I mean, part of my advocating role that I do I used to work really closely with the International OCD Foundation. And there's a group of advocates. And it's really interesting. There's two groups. There's the one group that thinks you're done no matter what, you're going to struggle for the rest of your life, it just sucks. And then there's the other group that they know that it's hard, but that there's hope out there if you get the right help, right? And I definitely fall into that group. And it was funny because we used to kind of consider it like the hope group. So it's really ironic that that's the name of this talk, because there is hope as long as you're willing to, or not willing to, as long as you have the resources, or maybe you know about the resources, right? So that's where I can't wait to hear Matt's talk, because, you know, just knowing where the resources are is sometimes super important, right? So I am going to give a little bit of advice, and then I want to make sure that we have some time for questions at the end as well. Also, but the first thing I want to say is if you are struggling, please reach out for help. There is help out there. Go to your counselor in your office. The academic counselors are not there just for ed plans. They should be there also for personal social stuff if you need something. All right, so reach out if you need anything. Message me on Instagram and TikTok. I gave a talk to a group of athletes just a few months ago, and I had some direct messages on social media, and I've been talking with them recently. So if you message me on Instagram or TikTok, TikTok's kind of odd. It kind of goes to the spam. Go to Instagram. But if you message me, I will absolutely 100% message you back. So please, if you're struggling out there, get help. I tell my students all the time, I say, look, if your car is broken, you take it to a mechanic. If your brain is broken, you go to a therapist. Like, why are we willing to help our car but not help ourselves? If your stomach hurts and you get COVID, you go to a doctor. If your head hurts and you're struggling, why not go to a therapist, right? There's such a misconception out there. It's really ironic, actually, and one of the reasons why I wanted to get into the advocating and posting and trying to be more public about this is when I pull my Instagram and TikTok numbers, this is just kind of ironic to kind of hit home on why this is so important. As my Umoja students say, I'm a little TikTok famous at times. A few videos have gone a little viral. But I can pull analytics, and 80% of my followers are female, but 60% of my direct messages are male, right? It's really interesting. And of those 60%, about 20% are from the Middle East, which is kind of cool. So I say that because that's one reason why I want to be out here and talking about it, because it's such a stigma that is below the surface that we just can't talk about it. We're not willing to go. I don't know what it is. Some of it's cultural, some of it's pride. Who knows? It doesn't matter what it is, it just is. So please, get help. You're gonna fix your car, fix yourself, okay? Please go out and get help. The world is better with you in the world. The other thing that has helped me that hopefully will help you, so maybe this is the piece of advice that'll change the trajectory, is a little bit of a mindset shift that I've tried, and it helps sometimes, not all the time. I remember praying and saying, God, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why do I want to kill myself? Why am I alive? Like, I have prayed for death so many times. The amount of times I've prayed for cancer, because I'm a Christian man, if I kill myself, I don't know what's going to happen. So I prayed for cancer. I drive to Bakersfield 5 days a week for my job. I mean, I hope my wife's not listening. There's been some days where I'm like, I would love for this big rig to just swerve and take me out. And that's a heavy thought. Like, when you sit back and think about it, right? I mean, I got 3 kids and a wife. Like, that's not good. But something that has kind of helped me is trying to shift 2 words. So instead of, God, why me? I try to tell myself, God, me, ... why? And those 2 words have really helped me contextualize things, because maybe there's something else. Maybe there's a reason why I'm going through this. And I fully believe that God allows me to go through these issues to help other people. It sounds weird, and I hate it, and I wish there was other ways, but I do fully believe that God has allowed me to go through these problems to help someone. Maybe there's someone here tonight, maybe it's my students, because it sucks talking about it, but someone needs to talk about it. And I fully believe God allows me to do this. Maybe that's why you're struggling. Maybe He's allowing you to go through something to help your family. Maybe you're not religious and you just think that that's karma's way of making you go through something to help somebody else. But that word, that switch has really helped me. Instead of God, why me? God, me, ... why? And there's got to be a why out there. And I know there is. There is a why for sure. The last two things then. One is, and this is just in general a great thing. Every morning I try to pray that I'm going to help one student a day. Because if I can help one student a day, that I really change their life, that's 185 to 200 a year times my whole career. That's good, 20,000 people that I could potentially help. And sometimes all you have to do to help somebody is just show them that they matter, right? So I'm telling you this as a whole. This is just kind of my way of trying to give back to society, but please show people that they matter. I can tell you right now, Diane Rankin, I don't know if anybody in here knows Diane Rankin. She was my sophomore English teacher, and all she did was show me that I mattered when I was a sophomore in high school by not failing me in English because I was a little punk kid that did all kinds of stuff. She could have failed me, she could have kicked me out of class, but for some reason, she always showed me that I mattered. And I'll tell you what, if you read my dissertation, I thank my wife, I thank God, I thank my dad, and I thank Diane Rankin because she just showed me I mattered. That's all she did. She didn't say anything crazy. She just loved on me. She didn't flunk me when she could have flunked me. I think she sent me to the principal's office a few times, but it wasn't it wasn't terrible. But she showed me that I mattered. The guy named Derek Curry, a local guy. My son plays on a travel baseball team, and he goes to a small school, and he has no friends at his school, not one friend, because he likes to play sports, and all of his friends do other stuff. And I was looking at having my son play on a baseball team, but they play Saturdays and Sundays, and we don't play baseball on Sundays because we go to church. No other team would ever allow a player to play only one day a week. And the local guy, Derek Curry, said, that's fine, show up on Saturdays, you don't have to play on Sunday. That one act is now the reason that my son has friends that he hangs out with all the time. That's all he did. He just allowed my son to play on a team that nobody else would have allowed because of missing the game on Sunday. So try to show people that they matter. The last two things are this, and I'm coming up on my 20, I want to do 15, okay? I know we got some athletes in the room because I heard some athletes are showing up. And everybody's in a different trajectory, right? Some are super sad. Some are like me, and they literally are praying for death. Others just need a little bit of a kick. And I want to share a poem with you that I kind of wrote, but I also kind of, not stole, but, I modeled it up. What's it called, professional? Yeah, so I no one actually wrote it. But so I wanted to call this Choose Your Suck. But my wife said not to because she said that there'd be some important people in the audience. So I had to listen to my wife, and it's called Choose Your Hard. Okay, so I want to do this last thing, and then I am done, and I really thank you for your time. Working on yourself in therapy is hard. Untreated mental illness is hard. Choose your hard. Studying is hard, but not making grades and losing financial aid is hard. Choose your hard. Waking up on Saturday to practice or to study is hard. Waking up on Saturday hungover is hard. Choose your hard. Speaking in front of people is very hard. Saying no to a friend who asks you is hard. Choose your hard. Being a good parent is hard, but raising an ungrateful child is hard. Choose your hard. Helping other people is hard, but losing an opportunity to help people is hard. Choose your hard. So I ask you, what hard will you choose? Because going to therapy sucks. Being vulnerable sucks. Having your doctorate degree with 3 kids and playing college baseball and then telling your wife that you want to kill yourself is hard. But I think being gone will be worse. The last thing I'll leave you with is this, and this changed my life years ago, so I'm going to share it. This is one of the biggest things that changed my trajectory. And it's just this simple concept of what is your why? So what I do every morning, especially when I'm having a bad day, if you come to my office, which I don't know how many of you will ever be in Bakersfield, but you'll be in Bakersfield maybe. If you come to my office, you'll see this there, and I have 3 letters, and it says FFO. And I wrote that because there's this concept that when I used to teach a lot of classes on career development, I would always start it off with, why are you in college? Like, what's the reason? What is your why? And what I try to get my students to get to is why do you do what you do? Why do you get up in the morning? What gets you motivated? That's deeper than just you yourself, right? So my 3 things are my faith, my family, and serving other people. That's my 3 whys. So that's why FFO is on my desk. I was going to have God, family, and others, but GFO, I was like, probably shouldn't have. As a counselor and a Christian, I shouldn't have GFO like on my computer screen, so I switched it to faith. But I mean that because there are days where I just don't want to get out of bed. And I need a few things to give me that kick in the butt, right? And my why is very helpful. I truly believe God placed me on this earth to serve people through my counseling role. I truly believe God blessed me with my family to serve them. I believe God allowed me to go through trials to be here to help you all. So I would ask you and I would challenge you to say, figure out what your why is. Because whether you are like me and you think about killing yourself quite often, or whether you're just like someone that needs a little extra motivation, that why might keep you going. And I'll tell you, a big reason I'm here, last year my 7-year-old daughter started getting intrusive thoughts. And I want her to see this one day. Because if I can do this, I know she can too. So thank you.